The novel 1984 provides us with a glimpse into a bleak dystopian future, where a totalitarian government monitors every citizen using cameras and even hidden microphones, just to ensure that no one speaks against the party. But as we speak, millions of people are being monitored in the United States by multi-million-dollar companies. I'm speaking, of course, about America's students. Today, we will examine online proctoring programs, which monitor student behavior for suspicious activities. The use of these programs is unacceptable as they invade privacy and fail to function properly. In reference to proctored exams, Hubler, New York Times 2020, writes that privacy advocates are sounding alarms, investors are taking notes, and students are fueling demand with their own testing of boundaries. First, we will take a look at the various problems that come with proctoring software. Second, we will investigate the causes that led to these problems. And finally, we will determine the best solutions to ensure that students are tested fairly. In these uncertain times, making use of proctoring software seems like a good idea. They are able to lock tabs, monitor student behavior, and record students for any suspicious behavior. However, a closer examination reveals that proctoring programs are flawed and woefully inefficient. While most proctoring programs use AI in order to track student behavior, some make use of live proctors. These proctors are employees that work for the companies that develop the programs. And the question must be asked, are they trustworthy enough to be monitoring our students? Chin The Verge 2020 reveals that students who are monitored by live proctors feel as though their privacy is being invaded. They report feeling uneasy and intruded upon by what are essentially strangers. Epstein, The Cornell Daily Sun 2020, warns that programs like Examity, which uses live proctors, have a warning on their company disclaimer that states any data transmitted to their servers is not 100% safe. You are using their program at your own risk. Clearly, student privacy is being disregarded in the name of academic integrity. And to make matters worse, these online programs aren't even stopping cheating. There has been a 72% increase in cases of cheating since schools first went online in the spring. Additionally, cases of plagiarism have also increased since schools switched to distance learning, according to Perlman, Daily Pennsylvanian, 2020. Clearly, these programs are failing to correctly monitor students. As Assistant Professor Jared Nielsen from Birmingham Young University details to Metz, CNN 2020, proctoring programs are flagging any student behavior as being suspicious. They can't even look away from the screen for 1 second without being flagged. Possibly the largest oversight in using online proctoring systems is that there are millions of students who don't even have access to the software needed to run these programs. Kenneth Dodge, a professor of early childhood development, stresses to Shauset CNN 2020, about 8.6 million children ages K through 12 do not have the necessary equipment at home to participate in online learning. That's about 1 in 6 children in America. Regan Bird, a high school senior from Connecticut, laments to Malaya, Amy, and Fen, ABC News 2019, that she has to do all her schoolwork from her phone. She considers herself lucky, as her grandfather pays for most of her unlimited data. But other students have to regularly leave their home in order to find any type of signal to attend class. Now that we understand the myriad of problems that come along with using online proctoring programs, let's take a look at what caused the dependency on these programs by first examining the duties that educational institutions have, and second, the global pandemic that led to distance learning. Every school or university has 2 basic functions. The first is to teach their students, and the second is to ensure that students retain the information that was taught to them. Professor Alex Bowers of Columbia University explains to Marilee Quartz 2020 that grades are a crucial factor in gauging a student's academic knowledge. In order to make sure that a student has proficient knowledge, there must be a level of confidence that they have not been cheating. As such, the benefits of online learning become clear. These systems provide a watchful eye that can make sure a student's knowledge is truly their own when they are being examined. Yet, a majority of students would never have been subject to online proctoring had it not been for one major reason: the COVID-19 pandemic. Prang and Ansari, the Wall Street Journal 2020, report that as cases of COVID-19 rose above 5 million in the US, more and more universities began switching to online learning in order to slow the spread of the virus. Harwell Washington Post 2020 reveals that as schools were forced online due to COVID-19, proctoring companies began to receive a boom in business. Desperate American colleges were rushing to make deals with proctoring companies in order to monitor students for academic integrity. Now, it may seem as though the use of proctoring programs is inevitable. College needs to monitor academic development, and returning to in-person teaching is a difficult endeavor for the educational system. However, there are solutions that could potentially remedy this issue. First, we need to realize that as students, we have some power to change certain aspects of our academic career. We can create a dialogue with our professors about the use of proctoring programs, and hopefully find a way in which to test students. Shay Swager, an academic librarian and researcher at the University of Colorado, Denver, writes to MIT Technological Review 2020, stating that the best thing we in higher education can do is start with the radical idea of trusting students. If we develop a trusting relationship with our professors, we may be able to get rid of proctoring programs altogether. Instead, we can make use of other forms of testing, such as short answer questions, oral presentations, or even open note exams. However, we must take the initiatives to start this discourse. Still, the only way to significantly reduce the dependency on proctoring softwares is to return back to in-person teaching. I know that sounds ridiculous, especially in the midst of a global pandemic, but there is a way to do it. Testing. And I don't mean the academic kind. According to Cooper Forbes 2020, the University of Illinois developed a COVID-19 test that provides results in just a few hours. Because of this, the university was able to test over 250,000 students. And once the semester started, all faculty and students are required to be tested twice a week. Not every school has the resources to conduct such large-scale testing, but this demonstrates where to take the next step. Through government-funded programs, public universities or schools could be able to test their students in order to catch early signs of COVID-19, which would effectively stop the spread of any outbreak that may occur. First, we came to understand the issues that online proctoring has. Second, we analyzed the causes. And finally, we found solutions to end the use of proctoring programs. We need to realize that proctoring programs are deeply flawed and are more of a burden than they are a useful tool. I think we can all agree that we wouldn't want to live in a world like 1984. So let's take some initiative and change the way that students are being tested online.